Hello, everyone. I am recording this video right before Thanksgiving, and I'm recording it for week 15 and week 16 for the course. Uh, Happy Thanksgiving if you are watching this video before Thanksgiving. I wish you a very good time with family. Uh, I will also be with my family. I am traveling to Egypt tomorrow and no, after tomorrow on Sunday, because today is still Friday. And I will be uh, during the Thanksgiving break and the following week too. Um, I have been asking my students of face-to-face classes about Thanksgiving and the things that they do. I think more of it is family get together, which is something that is very valuable. We didn't get the chance to meet, but I am a very much of a family person, and I appreciate the time with family members, which is why sometimes maybe as you witnessed, being away from home is a struggle for someone who is uh, tied with their family, especially if that there is a long distance. I was trying to find a flight, and the minimum I could find was $800, and some of the prices were like between 1,300 to 1,500. So yeah. In this video, I will be talking about four things. Let me share the slide because I wrote an agenda so I don't forget. Um, you see, no, I don't want to share multiple windows. I want to share this window only. Yes. I found this theme of Christmas while although we're still are not Christmas, but this is something like sense of celebration. Um, for the agenda, I want to talk about project 2 feedback, and then project 3 components progress, and the peer review that we will do in week 15 right after Thanksgiving, and the portfolio submission that will be in the last day of classes. Um, and I made a list of reminders about this to us in a slide here. Um, so let me first talk about Project 2 feedback. So I was giving feedback last week on the update document of Project 2, and I think like generally when I am grading uptake documents, it is my main assessment tool for the project. And there are many reasons for that, and I think maybe by now you should know them. Since we are approaching writing not as some rules to follow, or some instructions from a teacher that you will put them in a paper. However, we are trying to see how people write in the world and how we have very complex activity systems that use writing uh, to make the activity happen or not happen, or happen for some people or not happen for other people. Uh, so writing is a means of communication, and uh, like any other means of communication, like language itself, you can make people who have different languages, for example, suffer. We see many people in the country, and I mean here in the US, they'll tell you, you are in America, you speak English. I'm not sure if you have noticed that. This is a matter of access. I think it is clear from those statements that they are blocking access to some people. And even the idea of you speak English. What forms of English do you want them to speak also? So now the the uh, the language is used as a tool for discrimination on wide levels. We also talked about the article that I wrote with Ahmed Hamdi. I shared that article with you, and we talked about how a visually impaired person can suffer tremendously if writers and readers do not think about multimodal communication. And thankfully, for example, in the US, I think in many places things are better than many other parts of the world, including the context where Ahmed was brought up, which is Egypt. And in the article, he mentioned many situations where he was not giving access because most of the writings in those places, most of the genres, if you remember our talk about genres, were not giving him access to or equal access to the system. So when we think in this complex way about writing, here comes how we will assess writing in the classroom. You know, and my role as a teacher of writing, who am I to decide if your writing is good or bad, or if you learn something or not? If I'm not giving you exact rules to follow in the production, let's say, of the infographic that was in project 2, how am I going to have a sense of entitlement to give you a grade? And there comes the update document as the tool of you telling me what you learned. And this is the only way I can see through the project. This is the only way I can see if you learned something or not. So, and in the assignment sheet for project 2, I stressed the importance of answering the questions of the update document in rich details. And thankfully, almost all, no, not all, but almost all, except maybe for a couple of students, as they say, followed those expectations to the T. I was reading the update documents, and those are some of the moments when I see the value of what we're doing. There were many learning moments that were brought up in the update documents. I have some notes from them. Many of you talked about the decision to pick a topic, myth versus reality, and the myth that you want to debunk, and why you chose this myth, and why it matters to you. That was like that decision was a learning moment for many of you. The idea of evaluating sources for credibility, and which was actually the major component of the major goal of this project. How you used sources tactfully, but not just any sources, but the sources that you think are reliable. We had some time in this project discussing the idea of evaluating sources for credibility. We read some sources and we had discussion posts around that. And I could see a lot of engagement in this idea around what are your criteria for evaluating a source as credible or not, especially in our world nowadays, where like we have an explosion of information from everywhere, especially with the presence of social media and now with the presence of artificial intelligence. So living through this is not easy. And to be honest, if I will answer the question, I don't have a specific answer. I don't have a recipe for living through misinformation and disinformation. But what I have faith in is that when we convene together in a class and we think about all this, we can come up with some strategies that can help us. And that is what we call critical education, which we were doing in this class. And I could see evidence of this in many of the artifacts, the update documents. I pointed that out also in the individual feedback. Some others, to be honest, also, especially in that idea of evaluating sources, missed a little bit of engagement on that. And I took note of that too. Maybe in the assignment sheet, I will make more emphasis next time about how to focus on that learning outcome. Uh, what I'm thinking about what other things came up. Um, Yes, some of you also mentioned that they learned a lot about the myths that they were debunking as they were researching it, and they learned how it is more complex than they thought. I think also that's an important part of learning. Uh, in the design of the infographic, many of you had to make important decisions about the use of text in relation to the space that the infographic is providing, and the use of visuals that are representative of what they want to do to make it engaging but also informative. Um, Takeaways for the future, that was also a question in the uptake document. Some of you, or actually most of you, mentioned the idea of the need, how it is important as a takeaway to evaluate information and also to organize information in spaces. And I think those are also very important. So as I was reading your uptake documents, these were moments that I myself was very proud of you for reflecting on them. So there were a couple of problems that resulted or appeared in the update documents too. One or maybe two instances of using AI in the uptake document that I pointed it out to those who did it, and I asked them for revision. Using AI in uh, writing courses is very tricky. Give me 1 second. I think I have a message. We can use AI for many useful activities. However, we need to be mindful of when using AI can be useful and when it can be unethical. And I outlined that in the syllabus from the get-go, from the start of the semester. Using AI to do something that it is intended to do by you and it involves lying, this is unethical. And I gave an example of the discussion post, reading post. So if you are writing a reading post, you are telling us that what you're writing is the result of your mental engagement with the materials. If you just take a paragraph from the materials and ask ChatGPT to summarize it, for example, and then put it, that is not ethical. Similarly, with any personal reflection, ChatGPT cannot write a personal reflection. It can write something, but it will never be a personal reflection. And this is how I spotted them. ChatGPT, if you give ChatGPT the questions of the uptake document, it will give you some abstract answers that are lacking any kind of details because ChatGPT does not know the details of what you did, simply. So these created problems for sure and created a kind of interaction between me and the students. And what is more is that sometimes the use of ChatGPT in such a manner makes me lose faith in the quality of the work of the students. And no matter how objective a person can be, especially in classes, in humanities classes, we are not teaching math. We're not teaching equations. We are teaching complex ideas, and grading them includes, by all means, a level of subjectivity. It cannot be 100% objective. So having faith in the credibility and the reliability of the students is important. So I am just urging anyone to and I will say in this class, but I think it's an advice that is applicable to all classes, to maintain a credible image uh, because it's important. It's important for the progress of the class. It's important for not having any doubts in the quality of the work. And I am glad, to be honest, that this problem came up in project 2, so it can be pointed out, so we cannot see it in project 3. Okay, project 3, you are submitting the first draft right after Thanksgiving, and you are submitting the final draft in 1 week after. So it's important to remember that you should be writing things ethically. And that's why I said I was glad these things came up in project. Definitely, I am, I'm not, I would say, I have given those students opportunities to revise and resubmit. I am not, because I do believe that this is a learning experience. We are living in a new world with AI. And we are learning new things, and I cannot claim that I know everything about AI. I think it is like maybe 2 years old now, especially ChatGPT. So it is just a learning experience, okay? And I am bringing it up now so we can avoid it in the future. What else? Yeah, that's about it for project 2. It was a very satisfying experience for me, to be honest, creating those awesome update documents that I saw for the majority of the class. The next point that I had on the agenda is project 3 components progress. So let me again take you to project 3 assignment sheet. So yes, we had a project titled Investigating a Discourse Community. We started this project we started in week 7. You actually completed a discussion post about the assignment sheet. I dedicated a week for the assignment sheet. The assignment sheet almost includes everything or every detail about the assignment. I remember I wrote the benefits of the project, and then I wrote the components and the stage 1 planning and the writing the proposal. Stage 2, data collection, primary data and secondary data. And then stage 3, data analysis. And stage 4, drafting your research paper. And I wrote some expectations of the draft. Still, you see here, you have a lot of details. And I want to urge everyone to have this assignment sheet as their main source of information about this project. Okay. I received an email from one of your peers who seemed to be confused about the expectation of the first draft. Okay. So let me just make a quick reminder about what we are doing here. So you are doing an investigation of a discourse community, a community of communication, and you are trying to find access to this community and see how they communicate. You want to see their shared goals. You want to see how they get to their shared goals through communication. We read many articles about this. For example, in week 8, we rate a guide to writing as a nurse by Alex Hilderman. This was an exact typical investigation of a discourse community. We had Alex Hilderman, who was investigating the discourse community of nursing. He talked about the activity system of nursing, and he analyzed it through the PCHAT, the Cultural Historical Activity Theory. We had a week dedicated for this theory, and he analyzed some genres like the SOAP notes. So we also saw another example. The lawyers are now in session, and we saw the last article, which was actually written by a former a student like you. It is called Communication in Cryptography. So when you are in doubt about how this article should, or what this article should include, you need to look at one of these examples. What else? I recorded a video, and then, yes, we had a discussion about the proposal and what makes an effective proposal, and then you submitted your proposals. Now, in the stage of data collection, you had to find data from two sources, and this is going back to the assignment sheet. This is what you were doing. First, interview and genres to analyze, and I wrote here details of what you need to do. I said after you have located the discourse community you plan to investigate, reach out to some firms to get permission for your research. And I remember you even created an email of finding a discourse community member and to email a firm, and we discussed the interview questions. All this was happening in the discussion forum. So now we are at the stage of drafting your research paper after you have collected and submitted the data that you gathered from the primary and the secondary sources. So in response to the question that I was asked by one of the peers of what this paper should include, I prepared some notes. Okay, first let me read what we find here in the final report. So it says, I wrote here, your final research report should have the following parts. Introduce the discourse community study. So you should have an introduction, and in the introduction you should tell us what discourse community you are investigating. Describe the research method. So like a typical research paper, you need to have a methods section. Prove your community is a discourse community. You need to mention why this is a discourse community. And to do that, you need to go to the definition of a discourse community and the characteristics that make a discourse community. And then describe particular points of interest you discovered about the community. Now you will need to go to the data that you have collected, the interview that you made, and the articles that you read, and tell us in your research paper what you found interesting. So it is, this is an exploratory research paper. In this paper, all I want to see is the learning that you got from reaching out to this discourse community and trying to learn about them. What did you learn? And is the learning deep enough? And have a critical stance on it. And then, as I said, as it is written here, discuss your findings in detail. This might include quoting from the notes, quoting from your interview, the text you collected, and make sure to answer all the questions above regarding your data. And also, you must have a cited sources page. Okay, so those are the expectations. And also, one of the things that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I do not want to be giving you a recipe of how many pages exactly you need to have, and the exact sections and the order of the sections. It's not as limiting as it sounds. We are trying to see or to approach writing from a different perspective. So I think if an important step for you to do is to also maybe look at a couple of research papers, um, not necessarily reading them in detail. Research papers from your major and try to see the structure of the research paper. What makes a good and organized research paper? Doing that, we call this genre analysis. So do genre analysis of a research paper, like we did chat analysis for project 2, if you remember. So that this will help you a lot in knowing the possible conventions of a research paper. What else? In the peer review process, I have written some questions that will help you also give feedback to your peer, but also look at them and see your paper through them, see your first draft through them. So let me go to the tentative schedule. Um, yeah, yes. Um, so as you can see here, we took week 13 as an extra week of work on project 3, and also as I mentioned in my email, I needed because I was tired and I needed to move 1 extra week so I can recover a little bit and be able to give you the feedback that I gave you and also record this video for you and do the logistics of the class. So like we did last time in project 3, and I'm sorry, in project 2, we will do the same in project 3. There is just 1 week that will have multiple uh, multiple deadlines. And this is the week of peer review. And we will always need that because we need to have the first draft submitted, the peer review given, and the final draft submitted. And for this, we will need 3 different deadlines, okay? So the first draft of your research paper will be due on December the 2nd. And remember, this first draft will not be submitted to the assignment tab. It will be submitted to the discussion forum tab. The reason for this is that I want everyone to see each other's first draft. So at the time of the peer review, they will easily reach that, like we did in project 2. So as I wrote here, December the 2nd, and then on December the 4th, you will do the peer review, or by December the 4th. So you have 2 days to go and look at one of your peers' papers. I am going to assign you a pair or a peer. So please pay attention to your peer. You will find it here at the feedback guide. And you need to find the work of your peer and give them feedback before December the 4th. Please meet this deadline so your peer can have 2 days to incorporate your feedback and submit the final project. Okay. So this is 1 week's. And the final week of class, you will submit the portfolio for the class. And the portfolio is just a compilation of 3 papers that you wrote in this class, and you will write a short introduction in the beginning. There is an assignment sheet for this project. And as I said, it takes 1 week because it like most of the work on it is already done. You will put the work together and you will write 2 pages introduction to that. So let me take you through this assignment sheet for the portfolio too. So your final assignment for the semester is to substantially revise and compile all major writing assignments from this class, and I list what exactly you will have. Additionally, you will write a critical introduction to the portfolio that requires you to reflect on and analyze your writing experience throughout the semester. This essay will require you to explain in detail the rhetorical choices you made in developing and carrying out your major projects throughout the semester and how those choices are influenced by disciplinary conventions. You will also discuss how you expect to take the knowledge you gain from this course and use it in different writing or future writing contexts within your major and future career. So you can consider this, the critical introduction, as another uptake document, but not for one project. It is for the whole course, okay? And you will select 3 uh, writings from the course and put them, okay? So what your portfolio must include. First, it must include a title page. So a page with a title and your name and your class, and followed with a table of content that lists the items and page numbers. Then the critical introduction that we talked about, and then 3 of your writings. Maybe I wrote here the literacy autobiography that you wrote in the first project, mini literacy autobiography, myth versus reality infographic and its uptake document, the infographic, and the discourse community investigation article, which is the final article. Put all these together and write the critical introduction at the beginning. So these will be compiled in one PDF document and they will be submitted to the assignment tab. And the due date for this assignment is December the 15th. So you will have 10 days to work on this, on compiling this work. Where else? Yeah, I wrote some more helpful tips for the critical introduction. So please read them well. I wrote grading criteria. I wrote like the criteria. Let me read it with you so we can be clear on this. So the portfolio is submitted as a PDF with the required components listed above. So please make sure to read that. The critical introduction includes rich details and follows the guidelines listed above. You are advised against using AI in writing the critical introduction section because it is a reflective paper. So it should be a reflection of your learning, and it should be filled with anecdotes and quotes even from the articles and the artifacts that you will include in the portfolio. So AI will not be able to do that. So I advise you against it. The critical introduction should be between 2 to 3 pages. However, the emphasis is on the substance more than the quantity. Okay, so you can make it even 4 pages, but when I am reading, it's all again abstract wording that does not touch base with any of the decisions that you have made or the learnings that you have taken from the materials. And also there is an official rubric here that is made by the school, actually. I also included it just for your reference too. That's it. This is not one place. Um, So I have gone through this too. I'm sorry, I think I need to just one. So after you have submitted the final portfolio, that will be the end of the semester. That's all you need. So as I explained, 2 weeks, 1 week for finalizing project 3, and the second week for creating the portfolio. And that is all you need to do for this course. I have the due dates here. If you want to take a picture to remember them. Project 3 first draft, December the 2nd. Peer review, December the 4th. The final draft is December the 6th. And in the peer review, I have a sheet that will tell you everything about the peer review. So please follow that. And then the final portfolio, December the 15th. So this is my video. However, I will be available through email and through feedback. If you want to ask any question, that's very much expected. Look at the assignment sheet, watch my video, and if there is anything that you want to know, email me. Especially in those final 2 weeks, because they are, I know that you will be busy and sometimes even going to the assignment sheet is helpful for sure, but sometimes you will feel the need to email me. So whenever you want to email me, I will be available. That's it. I will, I will be on campus right after I come from Egypt. I will be there next semester. I have seen a couple of you on Zoom for some meetings, but I have not seen many of you, and I would love to meet you in person. So sometimes if you see me, you will be more likely able to recognize me than me recognize you due to me recording videos, but rarely I saw you, or I saw for some of you I have never seen your even a picture. So if you see me, I would be happy if you say hi. I think I will record maybe a short video for week 16, just as a follow-up to make sure everything is in place and to give final reminders before you submit your final portfolio. Until then, take care, and again, happy Thanksgiving.